Hi everyone, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. I'm your host Dr. Haider Shah. On behalf of Calvos, I would like to welcome all of you this webinar. Thank you very much for joining us. Today we have another very interesting topic and I'm really honored to welcome and introduce our distinguished guest speaker who is going to talk about bibliometric analysis for beginners. Bibliometric analysis refers to measuring the properties of all kinds of documents, including the journal articles, conference proceedings, books, etc. These properties can easily be extracted from multiple academic databases like Scopus, etc. Moreover, the bibliometric study requires very less effort to get the data before it can be analyzed. So, really, very interesting topic, and I'm sure you will learn a lot from this session because we have an expert with us in today's this session. So stay tuned because in amazing stuff are coming ahead in this session. So before we start, I would like to thank Calvas for arranging such enlightenment sessions for their support and providing us such a wonderful platform. The aim of Calvas is to give you the opportunity to connect and interact with world-renowned speakers, academic leaders, teachers, authors, researchers, experts, professionals and businessmen to learn from their experiences, recommendations, and suggestions, which will create an impact and will enable you to learn and develop yourself in order to grow and transform individually, as well as to contribute to the world in a positive way. As our slogan is come, learn, and share knowledge. So today we have an amazing person. She's a well-known person in academia industry. She's a great human being and always ready to support by sharing her knowledge. So she is a senior lecturer in of economics in University Technologi Mara, Malaysia. She obtained her PhD in economics from University Utara, Malaysia in 2017 and a professional certificate in business analytics from University Science Malaysia in 2021. Her research area has been focusing of the monetary and financial economics and has published some research work in high index journals such as International Journal of Productivity and Performance Management, International Journal of Economics and Business Research, Contemporary Economics, Journal Economy Malaysia, and Natural Hazards. She is currently the editor in chief for American Journal of Economics and Business Innovation and the member of the editorial board for American Journal of Multidisciplinary Research and Innovation. Last but not the least, she is a wonderful speaker, author, teacher, researcher, professional, and above everything, a great human being. So please help me in welcoming our guest, Dr. Hafizah Ahmad Khan. Welcome to the Calvas platform and thank you very much for joining us, Prof.
Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Thank you so much, Dr. Haider Shah, for the introduction as well as for the invitation for today's sharing session. So basically, I will start sharing on this bibliometric analysis for beginners. And I believe that many of you actually have heard about this bibliometric analysis because it's become very popular in this recent year, especially among the postgraduate students and even among the scholars, because the output from this bibliometric analysis also be able to use it to publish in a very good journal.
Yeah,
So
it's really,
basically, yeah. So can you see
please,
my
please.
slides? Yeah. Okay. Thank you. So
Yes, over
basically,
to you,
this is
please. Thank you.
yeah. So basically, this is going to be the outline for my sharing today. So I will share a bit on the background of this bibliometric analysis. What's the idea behind this bibliometric analysis? And then I will also share with you some examples of this bibliometric analysis. So basically, I will share with you two topics. One topic which is more specific, and one topic that is very general, and how you can actually conduct this bibliometric analysis in these two types of analysis. And then I will also share the examples of research articles related to the bibliometric analysis. And then we're going to look a bit on how to conduct the bibliometric analysis. And later I will also show with you some demo on how to use the Scopus database to extract the data as well as what information that you need to take from this database and for you to start writing these bibliometric papers. So before we go deeper into this bibliometric analysis, so we need to at least know the idea behind this bibliometric analysis, or what is this bibliometric analysis. So basically the word bibliometric, it comes from these two words. Biblio means a collection of documents or books, while metrics means measurement. So the meanings of this bibliometric analysis, in short, we can say that it is a quantitative analysis of this collection of books or document. So we would like to quantitatively evaluate the document in terms of the performance of the research, in terms of the performance of the journal, in terms of the performance of the author. And by conducting this bibliometric analysis, we also able to identify important information such as the research gap in that area that we are investigating. We're able to identify who are the experts in that area, and etc. So basically, this bibliometric analysis, it previously, or it originally comes from the library and information science. But because of the benefit of using this bibliometric analysis, especially when we are looking for the contribution of the research and etc., it made most of the scholars, they started to use this bibliometric analysis in all kind of research. And unlike the other types of analysis, such as the SLR, it is more on the qualitative part. But for this bibliometric analysis, the concern will be more on the quantitative part. So these are the objective of conducting this bibliometric analysis. First, we able to see, or we able to examine the patterns or the growth of research in the area that we are investigating. We able to identify when is the research in the area that we are investigating started, who are the pioneer of the researcher or the research, and then we can see the growth when actually people started to become more interested to do research in the particular area that we are investigating. Number two, we can evaluate the scientific performance or the impact of the paper, as well as the journals, as well as the authors. Number three is we able to identify the collaboration pattern, how authors from different institutions, authors from different countries are actually collaborating in writing papers related to the topic. And then we're able to evaluate the author's productivity in terms of how many papers actually being produced by that particular authors, and then what are the H index and some other measurement that we can see to evaluate the productivity. And the most important part will be to identify the research gap. So that's why in my university, and I believe that in other university also, they started to ask students to start conducting this bibliometric analysis at the first period of the research, or at the first period of the postgraduate journey, because of by conducting this bibliometric analysis, at least you have some idea what are the areas that you would like to explore, because sometimes the topic that you would like to do, maybe there's a lot of research have been done in that area. So it will be very difficult for you to go each document by document to identify what are the other areas that you can explore. But using this bibliometric analysis, it can provide you some guidance on what are the other areas that you can explore in the research that you are doing. And finally, to predict the future research direction. Okay, next, the popular research question that we're able to answer using this bibliometric analysis, such as what is the current publication trend in the area that we are investigating? Number two, which are the most influential articles? And then what are the themes being discussed by researchers in the area that we are investigating? Who are the most influential authors, or who are actually the expert in the area, and what is the current state of collaboration? So for example, as a postgraduate students, when you are going for your Viva, for example, sometimes the examiner would like to know how much actually you have done the research in the area that you are investigating. So at least when you are able to identify all this important information, you able to actually defend yourself on how much actually you have done the research, what are the areas that people have done, who are the expert in that area. So at least you are ready with all this important information before you go for your Viva. So it's not only important for those in the early career or in their early research stage, but also it's very beneficial for those who are going to your Viva. At least you are clear the area that you are doing. Okay, so these are the advantages of conducting the bibliometric analysis. Number one is the data set can be easily obtained compared to when you are conducting a normal research. Or what you need to do is you need to start with the initiating the research, and then you have to starting to collect the data and then do the analysis. But for this bibliometric analysis, it's a shortcut for you, because by just using the database, you can collect all the information that you want to do the bibliometric analysis. So first, data set can be easily obtained, such as through the database Scopus or Web of Science. Number two, it can be conducted in any fields of study. So it also can encourage a collaboration from people with different area, because of as long as you know how to conduct the bibliometric analysis, then it will be easy for you to write any papers or in any fields. Number three is it requires a very minimal cost or no research grant required, because of the most important is you need to have your laptop, you need to have your internet connection, and you need to have the access to the database through your university access. Number four, the analysis tools, such as the one that I'm going to share today, is the Housing, Publish or Perish, as well as the VOSviewer. This is freely available online and also available in all kind of platform, not only for Windows but for other platform as well. Number five, the findings can be published. Not only can you can use it to attend the conference, but also the output from this bibliometric analysis also can help you to produce a good paper and submit to a very good journal. Number six, it does not require you to get the full articles. Compared to when you're writing other types of research, it requires you to have all these full articles before you come up with the analysis. So by using this bibliometric analysis, all information can be extracted directly from the database. And then number seven, the analysis can be easily conducted using the software that I'm going to share with you later on. It's just a few clicks and you're able to get all the information. And finally, the draft of the paper can be prepared in one day. So I will also be sharing with you one paper template where you can use to just transfer whatever information that you have extracted from the database. You can transfer it into this template. And thanks to a professor from UUM, Dr. ID, actually he prepared this template, and I'm also using this template whenever I would like to prepare bibliometric papers, and I will also share with you at the end of this sharing session. So this is one example on this bibliometric analysis on online learning and COVID-19 pandemic. So basically, when conducting this bibliometric analysis, the most important thing that you have to do is first you need to identify the keywords related to the area that you are investigating. So for example, I'm conducting a bibliometric analysis on online learning. I have to prepare all the important keywords related to this term online learning, because different researcher or different author, they tend to use a different terms to represent online learning. Because sometimes some researcher would like to use online learning, some would like to use e-learning, some would like to use virtual learning, some use the hybrid learning, some use the distance learning. So we have to identify first what are the possible keywords that the author would like to use. So one way is we can use the thesaurus to find what are the other terms related to the topic that we are investigating. Number two, we can just start with doing just a simple search on the database and just look at the keywords and to get some idea what are the other keywords that actually we can include in the search string. So this is one example where I used the Scopus database to conduct the bibliometric analysis on the topic online learning and COVID-19 pandemic. Okay, so for this topic, it's more narrow. The topic is more narrow because I look in terms of online learning, but I want to know only those who discuss in the context of COVID-19 pandemic. I do not want to know whatever research done on online learning before pandemic. So my focus will be only on pandemic. So I have to include all these keywords in my search string. So after including these keywords, and when I search, click search, I noticed that it also gives me some papers on influenza, not only from this COVID-19 pandemic. So I refine the search and include some other information in the search string, such as not influenza, so that it will exclude these articles related to influenza, so that I can focus my research only on the context of COVID-19 pandemic. And then based on this search, the first record identified 1,182 documents. And after that, we can do some screening, such as we can screen in terms of the types of articles, because sometimes some of the researcher, they would only like to discuss on the peer-reviewed papers or peer-reviewed journal. So you can narrow down the search by using the filter button on the left side of the database. So you can filter in terms of the journal, you can filter in terms of the language, and etc. So in my case, I filter according to the source type as well as according to the language, because there are also some other language included in the database. So after screening, I have 841 documents that I can use for the bibliometric analysis. So this 841 document will be the data that I'm going to extract and I'm going to include in my bibliometric analysis. Okay, so for the topic online learning and COVID-19 pandemic, so basically, when you are using the Scopus database, so for your information, today I will just cover on the Scopus database. So in Scopus database, they also have this function where Scopus can help to generate all this data for you. They already generate to you this table and this graph. So it's automatic in Scopus. You can just take it from there. But when you are preparing your research articles, then it is not suitable. You have to produce your own table, you have to produce your own graph, because of you have to follow the journal guidelines. So later I will also share with you where actually you can get all this information and you can produce your own table and your own graph. But for the purpose of sharing, for example, you are going for a conference, you just want to take all this information, then you can take it directly from the Scopus database. So the research related to online learning and COVID-19 pandemic, you can see that this is the trend of research. It started in year 2019, there's only one paper. And then in 2020, there are 150 papers. 2021, 441 papers. And in 2022, we have 249 papers. Please take note that here, for this topic, I conduct this bibliometric analysis in July. So if you use the same keywords and you search on the Scopus database, then you will see a different result for this 2022. And even you can also see some articles already published in 2023 issue. So using this output from July, I will just share how actually this, or the idea behind this bibliometric analysis. So we can see the trend of the research in the area of online learning started from 2019 and it started to grow exponentially. 2020 and 2021 is the highest, and this one 2022, because of the data is in July. If you use the current data, then you will see that the research is still rising in this area of online learning and COVID-19 pandemic, because it's a very current issue. So people are still eager doing research related to this topic. And then by using this citation metrics, I can also identify how many papers that have been produced and how much citation actually achieved by these articles. So within these 3 years, these 841 articles have generated almost 7,000 citation. So that's one of the reasons on why many researchers, they like to do topic that is very current issue, such as in the context of pandemic, because there's very high chances to get their paper to be cited, and high chances for them to increase the number of citation. And then for this citation metrics, this information is not available in the Scopus database. You need to use a different software. In my case, I'm using the Hazing Publish or Perish software to generate these citation metrics. And then we can also see in terms of the area, the subject area for the topic that I'm discussing, in this case, online learning. So basically, majority of the study conducted on this online learning focus on this social science. And also the highest is in the area of medicine, because those in the medicine area, they are very highly affected during the COVID-19 pandemic, because it's very difficult for them to follow the learning or the teaching and learning activities during the pandemic. It's very difficult to use the online learning for that. So that's why the research in this area also quite high after the social sciences. And then we also able to identify which are the countries that is the highest producer of the papers related to the topic that we are doing. So for this online learning and COVID-19 pandemic, majority of the research comes from United States, and followed by Saudi Arabia, Indonesia, Malaysia, and the others. And then these are the articles that have been highly cited, that is in 2020 and 2021. So this is the top 10 articles being cited in this area. So what is useful, the information that you obtain from this bibliometric analysis are, not only you can produce the bibliometric papers, but also whenever you are writing any kind of research paper, and whenever you have to write your literature review section, you can use this information as well. So imagine you are writing a topic that is very popular and you have like almost 1,000 articles for you to go through in writing your literature review. So it's very difficult. So what you can do is, by using this information on this bibliometric analysis, you can identify what are the top papers in the area that you are investigating. So you can take like top 20 or top 20, 30 papers only, and you use that for writing your literature review. So it will be much more easier compared to you don't know where should you start or which article that you're going to refer in writing your literature review. So the information that you gather from this bibliometric analysis not only restricted to those who like to find the research gap, not only restricted to those who like to write a bibliometric papers, but it can be used to write any kind of papers. So next is the keyword analysis. So by using this keyword analysis, also it can help the researcher to identify what are the area that has been explored in the research that we are investigating. And the size of the keywords indicate how much studies has been done in that particular area. So by looking at this keyword analysis also, it can give ideas to the researcher. What are the other angle, or what are the other areas that we would like to explore? So if you have like this keywords is too big, then you can expect that many have done research on that area. So perhaps you're going to look from other area or other aspect that you would like to explore. So that is the first one on the topic online learning and COVID-19 pandemic. So the second topic that I would like to share on the digital economy. So if you notice that during the first sharing this now, I shared on online COVID-19 pandemic. But for this second topic, it's a very general. I just want to know about this digital economy, and I don't have any other restriction. I just want to know when this research related to digital economy started, and I would like to know the revolution, and I would like to know all the important 192 articles identified. So the research on this digital economy, actually it begins in 1997, but the growth is very slow. So means that not much people actually interested to do research on this digital economy at that time. But it started to grow after 2011 until 2016, and now it increased exponentially. So this is whenever you write a bibliometric paper, this is what important things that you're going to share in terms of the evolution of the research, when it started, and then why it suddenly become popular in this area. So whenever you share or whenever you write a bibliometric paper, do not just write the briefly what actually you can see from the trend, but try to look for what are the reasons behind this increment in this, or the increase in the article related to that topic that you are doing. So perhaps there's something happen in the economy, or anything happen that makes people want to do more research on this. So whenever you discuss on these bibliometric papers, you also need to be very critical in your discussion. And then next, we can see in terms of the document by countries, the leading country are China, Russia, United States, and followed by other country. And then we can also see in terms of the subject area, the highest is in the area of social science, and then followed by business and management, and in the area of economics. And then this is the keyword analysis. So these are the area that researchers have been doing research related to the digital economy. So they focus on technology, on privacy, on economy, and then on innovation, efficiency, productivity. And you can see that there are also some researchers that study this digital economy in the context of environment, in the context of energy. So you have you have the keyword emission, you have the keyword energy, green, okay, carbon, and etc. So spatial, they study in terms of the geographical differences. So by looking at these keywords, it gives idea to the researcher what are the area or what are the other aspect that they would like to study. So that's why I said that this bibliometric analysis is very useful, especially for the postgraduate students if they would like to find the research gap for the research that they are conducting. So these are the top 10 cited articles in the area of this digital economy. And you can see that based on this citation metrics from 1997 to 2022, for 25 years, the citation obtained for all these articles, 879 articles, are 7,174. If you compare with the previous topic on COVID, online learning and COVID-19 pandemic, in that 3 years only, in 3 years alone, they able to achieve citation up to 7,000. But this research that already begins in 1997 can only get 7,000 citation. Why? Because of the topic is very current. So that's why I say that one of the reasons why researchers, they would like or they love to do research about this current issue, because of that's one of the chances for them to get a very high citation during that time. Okay, so these are the example of research articles published in the area of this bibliometric analysis. For example, we have this trend in global research in forest, carbon, and then Ramadan and public health. And then we have here on immigration. We have a paper on environmental research, the land degradation, global migration, and then on takaful, on board diversity, on sustainable construction. So basically, this bibliometric analysis can be conducted in any areas. So long you know what are the areas that you would like to do, you list all the keywords associated to the study that you would like to do, and then you conduct the search, and then you take all the information or extract the data, and you can start producing your own bibliometric papers. So this is the procedure how the bibliometric analysis can actually be conducted. So first, what you need to do is search the database. So you select what are the database that you would like to use. So for example, you would like to use the Scopus, or you would like to use the Web of Science, or you would like to use Google Scholar, Dimension, or some other database. You can also use more than one database, but you need to have you need to do more or extra work, because of you have to ensure that there is no redundancy in terms of the articles that you or the information that you found from one database to another database. Number two is to do the screening. So for example, you would like to screen in terms of the types of the articles, or you would like to do the screening in terms of the language used for that articles. And one more thing, when you are searching in the database, you have many criteria that you can use. Either you would like to use the article title, or you would like to use the keywords, or you would like to use the abstract as well. But usually I will advise the researcher to avoid using the abstract, because sometimes in the abstract, it's just that coincidentally they have this word appear in the abstract, but actually the researcher is not actually wanted to do research in that area. It's just that because of the use that word in that in the abstract, so it captured this as one of the research related to the topic that you are doing. So I usually advise them to look in terms of the title, because if it's in the title, means that this is the research totally about the one that you are doing, number one. And number two, you can also search in terms of the keywords. So that these two will be more accurate compared to when you are taking the abstract. And then number two, to do the screening. And then number three is to extract the data. Later, I will share what are the data that you're going to extract from the database. And then by using the software, you can analyze the data and finally you can report the information. So this is the procedure on how to conduct the bibliometric analysis using the Scopus database. So first, what you need to do is you open the Scopus database, go to the search. You can use the article title, abstract and keywords, or you can also use the keywords. And as I mentioned just now, I usually advise the scholars or the researcher to do or to conduct the search only on the title and the keywords. And then when you are conducting a bibliometric analysis, your topic can be either narrow, you can focus on whatever you would like to focus, or the topic can be very general. So for example, I would like to do research on FDI or foreign direct investment. So my topic is very general. I just want to know what other research has been done in this area of foreign direct investment. So I will write down all the keywords that represent foreign direct investment, because some authors might use foreign direct investment. Some use the short word FDI. So some use foreign investment. So I have to know first what are the possible keywords that the author will use, and then I will include in the search string and do the search. So if I would like to conduct a bibliometric analysis for a very general topic, or I want to be more specific, I want to know the research that has been conducted in the context of how the FDI will affect the economic growth. So I have two variables here. So I need to include all the keywords that represent my FDI and all the keywords that represent the economic growth. I need to include in the search string. So the bibliometric analysis can be very general, or it can be more specific according to the topic. And then you can also make use of these Boolean operators to ensure that it will bring you to the articles that you are looking for. Number two is, after you do the search, you will be directed to the document result. So initially I get 798 documents. And after that, I can do some screening. So for example, I would like to screen in terms of the types of the articles, or I would like to screen in terms of the language. So after I do the screening and I have this 783 document left for me to do the bibliometric analysis. So once I have finalized that, so these are the articles or the documents that I want to analyze, then I'm going to I'm going to extract all the data from the database. So there are three files that we are going to download from this Scopus database. That is, first is the export refine, which is located on the left side of this search document result. On the left side, you will see this refine result. So if you look at this screenshot number two, so there's a refine result. So if you scroll down, you will find this export refine button. So you can just click that and you can download it automatically. And then number two is to download another two files, that is the file in terms of RIS format and the files in CSV formats. So these two files, I will show to you where you can click it in the Scopus later on. Okay, so this is the procedure, how to conduct this bibliometric analysis. So what you can do is, first, you go to the database. After you have searched, you're going to download three files, export refine, and then all files in CSV format and all files in RIS format. Where for this export refine, so for this export refine, there's a function in Scopus where it will analyze the data for you. So it will share the data just like what I've shared in the example just now. It will show you the diagram, the graph, the table. So all can be generated directly from the Scopus database. But if you like to use it just to see the pattern, then that is sufficient. But if you're preparing a paper, then you need to download this export refine and you have to produce it on your own so that it suits with this general requirement. And then number two is the file in CSV format will be used for the software VOSviewer, that is for visualization purpose. When you want to see the collaboration pattern between authors, or you would like to see the collaboration between institution, or you want to see the cluster in terms of the keywords, in terms of visualization of the keywords, then you can use this CSV file. And the third file, RIS format, is the file that you're going to use with the software housing, publish or perish in order to generate the citation data. So if you like to know which are the most influential articles, which articles that get the highest citation, so that will be done using this file scopus.ris. Okay, so these are among the types of analysis that can be conducted. You can conduct the performance analysis. You can see the trend when the paper began, and then when people started to do research on this area, and then you're able to identify who are the experts. You are able to identify the top country that producing paper in that particular area. You're able to identify the top journal and other information, as well as the citation analysis. And also you can do the science mapping, that is to see the patterns of collaboration. You can see the clustering of information based on the keywords, based on the author, based on country, and etc. So this is the references or reference book that you can use for this bibliometric analysis. So in case you are interested, I will also share with you the link where you can download, you can actually buy in terms of ebooks. So this is a professor from UUM, and I actually attended, or I learned from him on this, conducting this bibliometric analysis. So I will share the link later in case you are interested in this book. Okay, so next I will go directly to the Scopus database. So that I will share how you can actually conduct the bibliometric analysis using the Scopus database. Okay, so based on the information that I've shared in my slides just now, so I have these keywords here, FDI and growth. Okay, so first I have to identify what are the keywords. What are the keywords related to this foreign direct investment? And then what are the keywords that represent my economic growth? Because some author, they will use the terms economic growth, but some they prefer to use GDP. Some they use the gross domestic product. So before I start searching for the document, I have to outline first what are the keywords that I'm going to include in my search. So for example, I'm looking for an article related to foreign direct investment and economic growth. So I use the terms or to tell Scopus that these are the terms giving the similar meanings to this foreign direct investment. And I join with terms and, or the Boolean search operators and, to indicate that I want to know in this article, I need to have these two terms. I want this FDI in my search, and I want this economic growth or the GDP or gross domestic product to appear in my search. So in this search within, you can search using the article title. And when you hit the search button, it will show you the result. So here we have 804 document. So in case you are wondering why in my slides we have like 790 document, but now when I search I have 804, because of that search that I did. It was conducted like a month ago. So when I share it again today, or when I search it again today, then the result will be different because of this increase in the number of document in the Scopus database. So sometimes some of the journal, they prefer the author to put a limit in terms of the year. So do not include the current year. They want you to stop only up to the previous year, the year that already complete. So it depends on the journal. So if let's say you conduct until the current year, when you're preparing the paper, you also need to include the information when the search has been done. So all the information must be documented properly. So later I will also share with you this a flow diagram where you can use it to include all the important information in terms of how you conduct the search for the articles. So for example, here you have 804 document. So on the left side, you can see this refined result. If you go down, you have this export refine. So this is one file that you need to download. But before you download, you need to at least do some screening whether the articles that you obtain here is related to the topic that you are doing, And if in case you have to do any other kind of screening, so you can just put the screening here. That is, for example, you want to screen in terms of the language. So I want only articles in English, so I can limit my search to English only. So let's say this is my final result after I have screened all the articles that I want. So the first thing that I will do is I will download this export refine. So what is this export refine? Export refine, it is the information that this Scopus database actually provide to you. It's just a simple bibliometric analysis of the data in this Scopus. So if I click this analyze search result, this is a function in Scopus where it will conduct this bibliometric analysis for the topic that I'm investigating. So it will give you the table, the graph related to the topic that you're doing. So all this you can use if you're doing presentation, then you can just straight away take this and put it in your slides. But if you're preparing a manuscript, you're preparing paper for a journal, then this is not, this is not a standard one for you to put in your manuscript. So that's why we download the export refine. So means that all this information or all this data in the diagram in the table will be generated in Excel. So what you can do is you can just go to the data that you would like to analyze and you click the graph function in Excel, so it will generate to you all the graph. Or if you would like to take the information and put it in the table, you just copy the information from Excel and put it in the table in the manuscript that you are preparing. So this function only for you when you are presenting, then it's okay to use this. If not, if you're preparing a manuscript, then you're gonna take this export refine file and you are gonna make your own table and the graph manually. Number one. Number two, you need to click this all button and click export. So this is the second file that we are going to download, that is the CSV file for the bibliometric data. So click all and then click RIS format and click export. So it will download to you all this information in RIS format. And this RIS format will be used to extract the information in terms of the number of citations. So if you like to do the citation analysis, you would like to identify which are the most influential articles, you would like to know which articles that highly cited, then you're going to use this RIS format data. And then repeat the process. You will choose the second one, that is in CSV file. So for this CSV file, it will be used with the second software, that is the VOSviewer. Okay, so basically in conducting this or in extracting this bibliometric data, what you need to do first, you need to have the keywords and then you do the search in this database. After you have to do the search in the database, you're going to do some screening to check whether the articles is related or not, whether you would like to put some restriction on the articles. And then after that, you're going to download 3 files. The first file is the export refine. That is for you to conduct a basic or the descriptive measures, or you like to just see the trends, you just like to see the subject area, you would like to identify the top countries producing the papers. So just a basic information. So it's a basic bibliometric analysis using the export refine. And second, if you like to conduct a citation analysis, then you're going to download the second file in terms of RIS format. And the third file is for you to see in terms of the visual, in terms of the graph, how each of the keywords or each author are interrelated with each other. So after you have all these 3 files, so next I will share with you on this software, Hazing Publish or Perish. So this software, Publish or Perish, you can download it online. It's free, also available in many platforms. Later, I will also share with you the link where you can actually download this software. So to open the file, you go to File, Import External Data, and then the data just now that you download from Scopus in the form of RIS format. So this file in RIS format that you downloaded from Scopus, you're going to click this and open. So it will open the file in RIS format, and it will outline to you all the papers, and also outline to you the number of citation for the papers, and then also the citation per year and other important information about the topic. And then on the right side also, you can see the citation metrics, when the article started or when the article begins, how many years, and then how many citation obtained by all the papers in this area, and then citation per year, citation per paper, H index, G index, and etc. So if let's say you are not sure what is the meaning of this G index, H index, and etc., I will also share with you one articles where it will outline to you what is the meaning of all this index. So let's say you would like to write a literature review, or you are not interested with the bibliometric paper, but you would like to do some other empirical research, and you are actually currently writing your literature review. So you can use this information, extract this data. So you have identified these are the articles, top articles in the area that you are investigating. So you can take perhaps 20 articles from here, and you can start writing your literature review. That will be your the basic article that you're going to start with in writing your literature. So you don't have to like move from one article to another, and then you have to identify which article that you're going to include and which article you're going to exclude. So imagine you have 1,000 articles, so it's very impossible for you to be able to cover all. So trying to prioritize all these highly influential papers when you're writing your literature review, then you can follow by some other articles, especially some journals, they want you to include the most recent article. So you include this, let's say top 20 articles, and plus with articles that is most current. So you can use it in your writing. If you like to write your bibliometric papers, then you're going to report what are the influential papers in this area, and then only that selected papers you can use it in writing your literature review in the bibliometric analysis paper. So basically, the housing publish or perish software is used for the citation analysis. It's used for you to identify the influential articles, who are the influential authors, so which are the influential journals, by looking at the citation data. So that is housing, publish, or perish. Another one software that we can use for this bibliometric analysis is the VOSviewer. If you would like to know the pattern of collaboration, authors from which country collaborating with which country, so you would like to see the patterns of collaboration among authors, patterns of collaboration among institutions or among countries, or you would like to know the clustering of the keywords, which author actually using which keywords in their analysis. So it can do the clustering analysis by using this visualization. So how can actually you conduct all the, or how can you actually generate all this data? Go to this create button, and then choose the second one, create a map based on bibliographic data. Click next, and then read data from bibliographic database file. Click next, and then you will choose the database that you use. So in this case, we are using Scopus. So click Scopus and click at this three dot, and you need to select the scopus.csv file, because just now we have three files. The first file is Scopus export refine. That is the file when you want to do the analysis similar to what being produced in Scopus database. You want to see the trend, you want to see the subject area, you want to see which are the top countries, and etc. That can be generated, or that can be done manually using the Scopus export refine file. And then the second file is Scopus RIS, when you want to conduct the citation analysis using the software housing POP. And then the third one, when you want to do the visualization, you're going to use the third file, that is scopus.csv. So after you have selected the file, and then it will appear here, you just click next, and you can select which type of analysis that you would like to conduct. So for example, you want to see the co-authorship. So you want to know the patterns of collaboration between countries, for example. So let's say here, you can see, so this is, you can see the patterns of collaboration. So it will cluster according to the color. So from Malaysia, these are the collaboration done with Bangladesh, with university in India, in Russia, Turkey, and so on. So you can see in terms of the collaboration based on country. And besides that, you can also look from other aspects, such as you would like to see the keywords. So you would like to see the keywords. So for example, I choose all keywords. So this will show to you, this is the clustering. So the area of the research has been done. The connection, or it will cluster the area according to the keywords. So the research on economic growth as well as foreign direct investment, it is under the same color. So the author actually focus on this angle, for example, in terms of the developing country, and then has been done on Eastern Europe, and some research focus on the financial market. Some also look in terms of the remittance. Some looks in terms of the financial development and others. So by looking at these keywords, it can help you in identifying what are the area that has been done, and also identify the patterns of research that has been done in the area that you are investigating. And besides that, it can also help you in writing your research gap or the contribution of the research. And one more thing, in terms of conducting the keyword analysis, besides using the VOSviewer, you can also use this one website. The name is WordSafe. So you can also generate the keyword similar to what I shared in slide just now. So you just copy the keyword and put it in that website. You can also generate the keyword according to the size of the keywords. So I will also share with you the link later, so that you can use it in your paper. So next, I will move to the template. Okay, this is the template. Actually, it's being prepared by Dr. ID or Prof ID from UUM. So he prepared this bibliometric analysis template paper, where you can use this. You can just transfer whatever information that you have gathered from the Scopus refined data, or you can the data that you get from the housing published or perished, the number of citation, the citation metrics, and then the papers, the top papers. All the information can be extracted from there, and you can put it in this template. And then he also include these methods on how to conduct the bibliometric analysis. So these methods, you need to report it properly. It means that what are the topic that you have done, and then what are the database that you use, what are the criteria that you use in your selection, is there any restriction. So everything that you did in your search just now in the Scopus database, you have to report clearly here. So if let's say you put some restriction in terms of the language, you just want English, so you have to mention. If you use all, then you have to include it all. So whatever you do in your search just now, in whatever database that you have chosen, everything must be reported clearly. So that's why this bibliometric analysis, we will say that the standard is even higher compared to when you're just writing a conceptual paper. So for a conceptual paper, for you to publish in a very reputable journal, it would be very difficult, because there is no proper methodology that you use. But for this bibliometric analysis, you have a proper methodology, and you have to report the steps before you come up with this data that you obtain, and after that you do the analysis. And then you have these keywords. What are the keywords that you include in your search string, and then when the data being extracted, and then how many output that you have identified at first, and after screening, how much that you obtain. So if you are using the criteria including the abstract, you need to do more. You need to do more screening, because of, like I said just now, sometimes in the abstract the word is just that he's writing the terms. It's just included in the writing. It's not because of the research is focusing on that particular things. So for those who include abstract including in your search or the selection, or sorry, the search criteria, then you have to do more jobs. You need to go through one by one articles and to ensure that all these articles are related to the topic that you are doing. So that's why I usually advise students or the researcher, you focus on the title, and number two, you can also focus on the keywords as well, because it will go or bring you directly to the articles that relevant to the topic that you are doing. And then these are the output. So we have the document types, source types, years of publication. So instead of you copy directly from the Scopus analyzer just now, it is not appropriate, or it's not suit with the general requirement. So you have all this template. What you can do is, after you have extracted the data, you take the data and you put it in this template provided. So that's why I said that the bibliometric analysis paper, basically you can prepare the draft within 1 day. As long as you have the keywords, you do the search, you download, and from the data, you just transfer it into this template. And after that, you can start writing the bibliometric papers. Okay, so you have language, and it is not necessarily that you have to maintain all this table. If let's say, for example, just now I do some screening in terms of the language, I do not want to know other language, I just want to limit to English, so I can actually cut this table from this template. So you can just remove this. So it is not necessarily that you're going to keep all parts in this bibliometric analysis template. So you just remain whatever you think is sufficient for you to answer whatever research objective or question that you have discussed in the introduction section. Then you can remain that in presenting your data. Okay, and then we have this. Okay, for example, the highly cited articles. You can take this directly from the Hazing Pop software. Okay, so everything is here. You can just follow and then just copy and put it in the template. So normally within 1 day, you have this data and you can start writing the papers. And one more thing, for the flow diagram, this one is only suitable for one database. So let's say if you are using more than one database, there's another flow diagram that I will share with you, where you can use more than one database, but you need to do more job for that, because of some articles that are included in the Scopus database might also appear in the Web of Science database. So when you conduct the bibliometric analysis on first and you conduct on second, you have to double check if there's any redundancy or duplication in terms of the articles. So you have to remove the duplication first, then the final number you can use for the analysis. But usually I will advise that you go with the one database would be sufficient. Okay, so next I will share on this Padlet data. So basically, if you like to have my slides for what I've shared today, if you like to have more information about this bibliometric analysis, for example, just now I mentioned to you, if you're not clear what is H index, what is I index, or whatever index included in the paper, you're not clear, you just click these articles, it will outline to you what is the meaning of that index. And then this is a sample of the reference book that I recommend for this bibliometric analysis. In case you would like to have a look, you can see the sample. And then this is the Scopus output for the 3 file for the topic FDI and economic growth that I conducted just now using the Scopus database. So I also include it here. So the first file is Scopus export refine. This is the data where you will analyze the data just using the normal function in Excel. So you can use a create chart, or you can just take the information and put it in the template just now. So export refine using the normal Scopus function, the normal Excel function. Number 2, Scopus RIS file, you're using with the Hazing Pop software for you to analyze the citation of the paper, and also for you to identify the most influential authors, the most influential journals, as well as the most influential articles. And then the third one, Scopus CSV. This is for you to visualize using the VOSviewer, where you can see the patterns of collaboration and also the clustering of the keywords. And then I also have here the template, the paper template that you can use to write the bibliometric analysis. And in case if you have more than one database that you would like to use, then you can use this second template that is for multiple database. So it will give you two database. So you have to report what are the outcome for the first database, and then how many result for the second database. And then after you have identified the duplication, how many records that you remove until the last data that you're going to use for the analysis purpose. But the best is for you, I think, to start with the one database would be sufficient. And then these are the sample articles that you can use for your references. So I put here all the full articles for the topic on this bibliometric analysis, similar to what I shared in my slide, but this is the full paper. And then here we also have the software where you can download this housing pop software for the citation analysis. And then we also have this VOSviewer software. And then I also provide you with the manual for you in case you are not clear. When are you going to use the co-occurrence? When are you going to use the citation and whatever other information or whatever buttons in that VOSviewer. So in case you are not clear, you can just have a look on this manual. So I have these two manuals. And then in case you would like to conduct the keyword analysis, similar to what's in my slides, like this, it can be generated also using the website. So you can just click this and you put all the keywords that you generated in the export refine file. Just put it here and it will generate to you in terms of this cloud word. And finally, these are some of the useful links for you to understand more about this bibliometric analysis. So as a summary, I would say this bibliometric analysis, the focus is to quantitatively analyze the document. We want to know the patterns of papers produced in this area, when it begins, and the evolution of the research. We want to know which are the highly influential articles. We want to know who are the expert or the researchers in this area. We would like to know which are the best or the highly influential journals. We want to know the patterns of collaboration. All can be done using this bibliometric analysis. So it's good for those who are looking for research gap. It's good for those who actually wanted to know the performance of the author, the journals, and etc. And finally, for those who are interested to write a bibliometric papers. Okay, I think that's all for my sharing for now. In case you have any question, feel free to ask. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Prof. Really, it was so lovely, so interesting session, because the way you started it from the history of it, from where this word bibliometric came, and very nicely you talked about the benefits of it, and then the procedure, what is the procedure, the template, everything you discussed in a theoretical perspective. And I love the way you showed on the software as well, because how to carry out on software was very important, because most of the time the researcher, they do not link between the software and the theoretical perspective, but you showed it how to do each and every step. And I really liked that way that you were explaining, and then you related back to the your own PowerPoint slide, that what you had discussed, now you are talking about this thing in the software, which was awesome. And followed by the last activity that you even shared, the template which was developed by the prof, was so nice, so great. And then again, on minute level, you describe each and everything, how can we take advantage of that template, and we can have easy transmitting the information, and whatever the data we have extracted, we just need to place in that template, and it will make it very easy. And lastly, but not the least, is the wonderful thing you mentioned about the different software and every, for example, the different the papers which could be available, and then the templates, the software, and everything you showed, and you talked about that you will share that link with us. So that was so great. It means you made it very easy for our audience from around the globe that what are the things needs to be considered and how they can relate it back. So really a fantastic job you have done today, because right from the start to the end you connected the dots and you explained in a wonderful way. Thank you very much for such a elaborative presentation and explaining in a wonderful way. Thank you. And now the question answer session, as you see, some of the questions they have asked, and they have emailed some of the question as well. So let's start with the first question. I think that's the very important question they want to ask. Let me rephrase it. They want to ask that if we don't have the Web of Science or Scopus access, then what do you recommend for bibliometric analysis? How can they carry out? Yes, please.
Okay, so one of the benefit of this bibliometric analysis is that the most important is we have this bibliometric data that we can actually download directly from the database. The one that I shared just now, the Scopus refined data, and then Scopus RRS, as well as the Scopus in CSV. So you can use the Excel, you can use the POT software, and you can use the VOSviewer. That's the main or the most important part. And one more thing, when you are writing this literature review, or when you are writing the introduction section, the most important is for you to actually focus on the top at least 20 papers in that area. So even though you don't have that full information of that article, you don't have the full articles, you can also rely on this abstract, and also in terms of the bibliometric data for you to write the introduction and when you are writing the literature review section. So it is not necessarily that you need to have these full articles in order for you to be able to write this bibliometric analysis paper. So that's the benefit of this paper compared to when you are writing a paper like SLR. You need to have these full articles for you to be able to write. But for this bibliometric, by just relying on the abstract, also you can get the important information about the topic that you're doing. So you can identify the methods, you can identify the area that the researcher is researching. So everything actually can be found in the abstract section. So not necessarily that you need to have the full articles. And one more thing,
Yeah,
you just need that
very nice.
when you are writing the a bit on the introduction, just a one paragraph, and then when you are writing a bit on this literature review. So it not much compared to when you're writing a normal
Yes.
literature review paper. Yeah.
Yeah,
What
thank you very
question of
much, Prof.
okay.
Another question we have, yeah, that is that they want to ask that what question or comment do reviewers commonly ask about bibliometric papers, since you are the expert and you know very well about the
Among
bibliometric. So what kind of questions do researchers get? Yes, please.
among the question that are normally they are interested to know is how you actually conducted the research, how you conduct the research, the steps, how you start with identifying the keywords, and then the steps that you include in the analysis until you found the data for you to do the analysis. So the most important is in terms of the methodology. So that's why by using this flow diagram is very important, because of you can include all the important information. You can show how rigorous is your methods, how fullness is the method that you have used. So normally they are concerned in terms of that, whether you have conducted in fully in terms of your search. Number one. Number two, I still remember one of the comment of the reviewers are in terms of the year that you include in your analysis. So for example, just now when I conducted until 2022, the result will be different. If I conduct today and I conduct again next week, you're going to see that the number will be different. So some of the reviewer, they want you to stop 1 year earlier. I mean, only up to the year the research already completed. So do not include any current year, because of the year haven't ended. So if you redo the analysis, you're going to get a different result. So if I, let's say I I stop at 2021 and I share that information just now. Anyone who have the keywords, you can just go to the database, just follow the same step. You're going to get exactly the same result. But if I stop until 2022, and when you're conducting again using a different days, so you'll see a different result. So that's one of the command that you receive. And one more thing, when you are targeting a very good journal, you have to ensure that it's not that just like you are conducting a normal research, okay, you have this analysis and then you have this, for example, a multiple regression, you have all the data. It's not that you're descriptively just explaining what happened, one increase, another one decrease. It's not going to be like a very simple discussion. You have to go much deeper, trying to relate, just like what I shared just now. When you're looking at the trend, you see that starting from this year, more researchers started to produce papers on this area. So trying to look in terms of the situation, what actually happened in that year that make people started to grow interest in this area. So you need to be more critical in your writing, similar to when you are writing any kind of research paper. Same goes to when you conduct the methodology, just like what I've said just now. You have this proper methods for you to conduct the research, how you get the articles, and then how you do the review. Same goes to when you're conducting a research based on the primary data. You know who's your population. You know which sample that you're going to select, and then you have all these criteria in selecting your sample size, and then you conduct the research and you come up with the result. So same goes to when you're conducting this bibliometric analysis. You need to be very thorough in your search until you get the result, until you do the analysis. So that's the most important part. Yeah, I'm done. Okay, by the way, before I forgot, just now when I
Yeah.
shared
Thank you very much.
the Padlet, okay, can you see this browser that I opened?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, by the way, you
Yes.
can access it directly. I mean, from anywhere, you just save this link, and whenever you are, you can actually access this Padlet. So all the information can be downloaded directly from my Padlet. And in case I have new information, I will also include it here. So whenever you need any information, feel free to open the Padlet. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Really, I enjoyed your wonderful answer to that question. And now we have very common question which most of the beginners they ask about the bibliometric analysis. That Prof, please guide us. What is the minimum sample size to conduct bibliometric analysis? Yes, please.
Okay, okay. The minimum size. Actually, there's no any rules in terms of the minimum size. As long as when you are including the keywords, it brings you to the output, to the result. Then that will be your sample. That will be the number of article that you're going to use for your analysis. So if let's say after you search and you get about like 1,500 articles, then that will be your articles in your analysis. So there's no rules whether minimum or maximum. It can be even less than 100, especially if that area not much being explored by people. I have this one paper on zakat. I only have like 74 papers. I also read some articles produced in Elsevier journal. There's only 50 plus articles. But that's why what I mentioned, you have to conduct it properly. So if let's say you get a very small number, you have to be thorough in your explaining your methodology to show that this is why I get these numbers, because of not much research has been done in this area that I'm investigating. So you will just focusing on explaining on this number of articles that you obtain. If it's 1,000, then 1,000 will be your article that you're going to review.
So thank you very much once again. Since we are running out of time, so one last question, Prof. They want to ask your preference. That Prof, please share your opinion. What software or which software do you recommend for bibliometric analysis and why? Yes, please.
Okay, basically there's a many software out there that we can use for this bibliometric analysis. But for my preferences, for me personally, I prefer using this pop software as well as the VOSviewer because it's very simple. Just a few clicks and it will give you all the output just like magic. Just a few steps. Okay, it's very easy. So for the citation analysis, you can use the Harzing software. Just open the file that you have saved and all the information will pop up and you can save it even in the Excel form. And then for the VOS viewer, also just a few clicks, you can get all the graph, all the visualization of the connection between research. It's very easy. So if you ask me which one I recommend, I would say that this is very easy for you if you like to use for preparing your bibliometric paper.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Prof. Really, I enjoyed this session with you and I learned so many new things from you. And really, you shared the personal experiences in your presentation, which was the great thing that it was not only the manual you referred, not only the software or the template, it was included your wonderful experiences and recommendation as well, and we learn a lot from this session. Thank you very much for such a elaborative and a powerful content you shared with us. And at the end of the session, Prof, we ask each our guests about their message to the world. So, what is your message to the world as a speaker, author, teacher, researcher, learner, trainer, professional, and educator? Yes, please.
Okay, but then are you asking me to share any message?
Yes, your message to the beginners, researchers. What do you What kind of message you want to give to the world? Yes, please.
Okay, I don't have. I mean, I have this one. Um, things that I always practice, that is keep learning and keep teaching, because every time you teach people about something, it will let you have more information on whatever you are teaching. So the best ways for you to remember something is through teaching, and that's the reason why every time people invite me to do sharing session, I'm more than happy to share, because that's one way for me to increase my knowledge, one way for me to never forget whatever information that I have. So just one message: keep learning and keep sharing. That's all. Thank you.
Wow, wonderful message you have given to the world, and I really appreciate. That's the wonderful part. Once we learn it and once we teach it, it means that it can have the application as well, which is very much important. People start using that knowledge, and which will ultimately translate into the benefit to the society and to the world at large. So really, thank you very much, Prof, for sharing such a wonderful knowledge with our audience from around the globe. And do follow our distinguished guest speaker through her research work, and you can email her for future learning and guidance. She is very generous and always ready to help the people. So, moreover, a wonderful explanation and powerful content which the great speaker has already elaborated will help you to learn and develop your understanding regarding the bibliometric analysis. So that's all we have time for today. And thank you once again, Dr. Hafizah Hamad Ahmad Khan. And I would like to thank our audience who joined us. If you have any additional question about information shared today, please email us or connect to the speaker through directly through her email or social media account. Thank you all for your support and liking our session. Stay tuned as many sessions are on the way. Please do not miss any session. Until next session, take care of yourself. Bye bye.